Welcome to our discussion on the powerful and often misunderstood virtue of humility. We're diving into Acts chapter 11 to understand how humility shapes relationships, conflict, cooperation, and generosity in the early church.
That's right. Humility isn't just an abstract ideal. It's something deeply practical and transformative. It's a key element in building a strong, healthy community. So let's unpack three vital dimensions of humility as shown in Acts 11, how it allows for constructive conflict, fuels cooperation and growth, and empowers generosity.
Absolutely. Let's start with how humility facilitates constructive conflict. In Acts 11, there's a big controversy, Peter's association with the Gentiles. Some were criticizing him for eating with those who were uncircumcised, but Peter didn't react defensively, did he?
No, instead of brushing it off or getting upset, Peter humbly explained his actions. He shared his vision, his experience with the Spirit, and his understanding of God's will. His humility made it possible for there to be dialogue rather than division. It's like Jesus teaches in Matthew 18, conflict should be addressed step by step with humility guiding the process.
Exactly. Peter's humility was key in turning potential division into a moment of unity. Instead of focusing on his own position, he asked, "Who was I that I could stand in God's way?" That openness created space for growth and reconciliation.
It really shows that humility isn't about avoiding conflict. It's about approaching it with the right heart. It fosters understanding and healing. Now, let's move to the second point, how humility fuels cooperation and growth. This is evident when Barnabas seeks out Saul in Antioch, right?
Yes, Barnabas, known for his encouragement, didn't let personal pride or past conflicts get in the way. He saw Saul's potential and worked together with him to minister to the church. They weren't competing, they were cooperating for the greater good.
It's a beautiful example of humility in action. Barnabas could have thought, I'm already doing well, why do I need Saul? But instead, he humbly recognized that they could accomplish so much more together. And that cooperation led to the church's growth in Antioch, where the believers were first called Christians.
That collaboration, fueled by humility, laid the foundation for something far greater. It wasn't about personal glory, it was about a shared mission, and that's crucial for sustainable growth in any community, church included.
Moving on to the third point, humility empowers generosity. In Acts 11, we see the disciples respond to a prophecy about a coming famine. They decided to send aid to the believers in Judea. What's remarkable is the heart behind their generosity.
Yes, their giving wasn't out of obligation or pride. It came from a humble awareness of others' needs. They didn't hoard their resources. They saw what they had as gifts from God to share with the community. Humility here made their generosity a natural, sacrificial act of love.
And notice how they trusted leaders like Barnabas and Saul to deliver the aid. Their humility made them trustworthy, servant-hearted leaders. Generosity flows from humility because when you're humble, you recognize your interdependence with others and the responsibility to share what you have.
Absolutely. Humility frees us to give without expecting anything in return. It's a beautiful reflection of Christ's own generosity toward us.
Speaking of Christ, let's reflect on the theological side of humility. Jesus in Matthew 11:29 invites us to learn from him because he is gentle and lowly in heart. Humility, as Jesus demonstrated, is strength under control, not weakness. It's a posture of openness, readiness to learn, and willing submission to God's will.
Exactly. Humility is foundational to living out God's kingdom. It reverses worldly values of power and status. Without humility, conflict divides, cooperation turns into rivalry, and generosity becomes rare. Humility keeps us aligned with God's heart.
Right. So, as we consider these biblical truths, what are some practical takeaways for today's church and believers? For starters, embracing conflict humbly, resisting defensiveness, seeking understanding, and pursuing restoration.
That's essential. Also, cultivating a cooperative spirit is key. Leaders should encourage partnerships, not personal agendas, and believers should be willing to learn from each other. And we can't forget the importance of generosity with a humble heart. We should view our resources as entrusted by God, ready to share with those in need.
Yes, and finally, modeling Christ-like humility daily, returning to Jesus' example as our guide. Humility isn't something we do once. It's a continual choice that shapes our hearts and actions.
In conclusion, humility is the foundation of a thriving Christian life and community. It enables constructive conflict, fosters growth through cooperation, and empowers generous living. As we reflect on Acts 11, may we be inspired to embody humility in every aspect of our lives.
Absolutely. Let's keep seeking to live humbly, reflecting the character of Christ in all that we do. Thank you for joining us today, and we encourage you to read Acts 11 and meditate on these truths.
Until next time, may you walk humbly with your God and find rest for your soul.
Don't forget to learn more at faith.drtracy.com. Stay blessed.